Alright everybody, here is my Cross RC WT-4 record. I finally finished it. It does not have the best paint job, but I did try to paint with an airbrush for the first time, and that's what I used. Originally I tried to use spray cans and it turned out okay using Tamiya paint, but then I had to start over a couple of different times because of various reasons. I did put a different light bar on it. It's the one with the real rotators, which I thought looked better. I had to extend that up using some diamond plate, and I bent it in this fashion to make the light bar a little higher up to clear the cab. On the doors, I need to redo those to paint the hinges, because you can still see a little brass through here on the hinges. I want to paint those white. I did have to modify these because the glue method that they used, they just completely fell out. So I'll show you that in just a second. This is the inside of the cab. I don't know if you can tell, I painted the air conditioner controls. You can't really tell in this shot, but there's blue on the left, red on the right. And this is there's a better shot of the air conditioner controls through the steering wheel. Some of the electronics are underneath this seat. I could not get a speaker from Cross to make it work. They were out of stock, as was the sound module was out of stock and with no end in sight. So I went with a different sound module, and which also has an incorporated speed controller. It's made by Bear, light years above and beyond what the original Cross module had. So I'm so glad that I went with them. So being with that, the speaker from Bear was too large. I'm going to go ahead and open the hood, and you'll see where I had to modify these. I don't know if you can see, I need to retouch that up with some paint, but there's a screw head that I ran through this. I drilled a hole through this piece and epoxied it into here, drilled a hole through the cap or the hood, and then put a nut on the back side. So I let the epoxy dry first, and then yeah, I did that. It worked so much better than the original. Every piece of wire that I could, I ran through the loom, so you can see the loom back here for the headlights. And I also put connectors on each area of wiring, so if I need to take the hood off, I just disconnect one of the connectors. One of the other things I did was I just installed fans wherever they were optional. I just went ahead and put them in. The fan for the motor, the scale fan for the motor, this little hoo-yah here, was belt driven off of a motor that was installed, a little tiny motor that was installed. That motor was very loud, and it continually, the amperage, I could watch it on my bench power supply, would just go up and down, and it just sounded, like wow, wow, wow. And it would bind, and then it would get to a point where it would just stop, and the amps would go sky high. So I just disconnected that, removed it completely, and took a small computer fan and cut away the shroud. So that's what this is. It's a computer fan. It's very quiet and pulls almost no current. And then wired that in whenever I start the engine, that motor comes on, as well as the top motor does. I am not a scale model builder, so please don't beat me up too bad. But I did my best to make it look decent. It's, you know, from 10 feet away, it's a 10 foot away scale. So please bear in mind that when you're looking at this. The instructions and the cab assembly for the lights were terrible. They expected you to glue this in with a LED with the rest of it before you paint. So I did not do that. I painted these first with, to me, a clear lens paint, and then painted the cab, and then glued those in, and then went back and retouched up the areas of where I glued the stuff together. There's a lot of errors in this stuff. I still need to glue on the handle here and on the passenger side. So, sorry, I went off on a tangent. The speaker that was supposed to go here, the one from Bear, would not fit. And I tried Mauser, DigiKey, everywhere else, and there are no options, or I couldn't find any options. Maybe they are in Europe or China, but to fit that speaker well. So what I had to do was, Bear offers a speaker box, and it happened to just fit exactly between the seats. And that's what that black box is, in between the seats, and the speaker is facing down. So what I did is I drilled holes. I'm trying to get my camera in here. If you can see these little holes underneath the seat, there's a series of holes that go across. Those are the sound holes that allow that speaker to come out, as well as the bottom of the truck. If you notice that toggle switch right there underneath the seat, underneath the driver's seat, that's what turns the truck on if the battery is connected. So we'll get to that in just a minute. So I think I covered everything under the hood. Let's get this thing turned around a little bit. I tried to make this look like it had some coolant in the reservoir. Let's go back to the electronics. So electronics, the speaker is in this box. I put speed controllers for the bed. So instead of wiring it directly to the receiver, which I thought was overtaxing the receiver electronics, I put two small speed controllers. I can't remember who makes them. Yeah, Racing or something. There's two of them underneath the driver's seat. One for the bed in and out, and one for the bed up and down. The receiver is a FR Sky or Free Sky, and it's underneath the passenger side, and that's all that's underneath the seats. So speaker, receiver, and speed controllers for the bed. The doors, I don't know if you can see this or not, they expect you to get these doors open. It's easy to close them, but it's very difficult to open them because there's no way to grab it. So I guess you were supposed to just bend the door out and pop it off, get what you need, and then pop the door back on and close it. I didn't like that, so I drilled and tapped holes on each side. And I put a ball joint from a Kyosho car and just drilled a hole through. So now the door won't come open. And this is just storage, so like a water tank. I got a fuel tank somewhere. And yep, so there's that. I was gonna put diamond plate down here, but I trimmed it, but then I never glued it in. I guess I could do that still. Let's see. Underneath the truck, you can see the loom here where I loomed everything, or tried my best to. More loom. And then I rewired everything and adjusted the lights on the back of the truck, cut traces on the board to make it more American, because they had amber lights on the tail for turn signals, and that's just not the way it is in the United States. Everything's red, and they're typically combined. This one is a little bit different. I just combined each side, so the two red lights on the left both operate together, and I just adjusted cut traces and made jumpers and whatnot on the board to make it a little easier to wire. The lights on the side here are running lights, so they're tied in with the parking lights, as are the three lights here. So they do nothing other than come on when you turn the headlights on. You can see over here where I had to modify the passenger side toolbox, and you can see the heat sink for the Bear module, where I cut away the bottom and cut away the back side to accommodate that. Let's see what else we got. Let's turn this thing around. This is the plug that I was talking about earlier, so I can disconnect that. This one is a 5-pin, I believe, and once that's disconnected, I can take the screws off the hood and just remove it without having to cut wires or anything. And I did similar things for the bed as well, so I can remove the bed just by disconnecting a connector like that. And so this side is where, and it's kind of not as neat, but I went ahead and recrimped on new, I think they're 10-pin connectors, there's 2 of them. And I trimmed the wires to length, recrimped them, pushed them on, and this is the speed controller. I haven't fastened it up with double-sided tape yet, because once I do, I won't be able to change anything. But that speed controller is for the winch here. And the reason I went with that one, or for any of them, is because they have an auto stop feature that once you get to the end of travel, once it sees a ramp up in current, it immediately kills power to the motors, and it saves the gears. And I saw some folks that were stripping out their gears on the bed and other things, so I'm glad I went that route. And this is the Bear module. It's got an SD card to save all the configurations, and you can program it. I imagine you could program it out of the box, just pull that SD card and program it, slap it in and go. But I just programmed it as I went. It's got a little USB connection. Oh, here I believe these 3 pins, 4 pins. Having a hard time remembering. But anyway, yep, there's some more loom running along. We did the same thing with the bed. We'll see that when the bed gets extended. So more loom here for the lights. I used for the light, the wiring running up to the light bar and the working lights. I put working lights on it that were not part of the model. So instead of using zip ties, I used wire. I forget what you call them. Come on, focus. These things are like double-sided with a 1/4-inch hole, and these just fit perfect. So I cut the back side of it off and slid it over, drilled a hole, and screwed it in. And I think that looks a little bit better than zip ties. So let's see. With that being said, we will turn on the radio, and I used a FR Sky, Free Sky X18R S, I guess. Not sure, but
Welcome to Ethos. Switch warning.
and let's see, SG. Where are you at, SG? SG. There we go. So what I did is I assigned switches for each function. So instead of turning the truck with the left and right turn, I did not want that to be tied to my turn signals, because I just don't see, when you're maneuvering, backing up, but parking in a parking space, you don't turn your turn signals on in real life. You just turn the truck and it moves into that position. So I used this switch to be my turn signal. So this is left, this is right. And if you don't want to use your turn signals, you don't use them. But that was some of the things that I did with this model. And it's something that I would like to do with all my models whenever I build a new semi-scale type vehicle that has turn signals. I just do not want them tied to the servo. Let's see. So what we'll do is we'll just turn this switch on here. And I also made the steering wheel, so if I ram this all the way over, the steering wheel turns fairly slow. And then when I let go, it turns back. So I wanted it to be more realistic movement instead of just a real quick, zzz, 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 real fast. And then this is my start switch. Oh, nope, sorry. This one's my start switch. It's because it's spring loaded. So if I pull back and hold it, it will start, and you'll see the fan in the engine kick on. And there's a volume knob here that I can adjust. And now that you've seen the fan, let's go ahead and close this back up. And again, there's a bunch of flaws in the paint because I'm new to painting with an airbrush. And I've had to repaint this thing so many times it's not even funny. We'll turn that down a little bit so you can hear it. So what I did is on the back side, when the truck turns on, the brakes are on, and when I apply the brakes, you'll hear the air brakes touch. And if I turn on my left turn signal, you can hear the turn signal. And then if I apply brakes, you can also see it. And again, I ran both of these lights together. I tied them together. And the same thing goes with the right-hand turn signal. And I've got, if I push this up once, it turns the hazards on. I'll push it up once again and they cut off. If I push it down, it turns on the working lights. You see the working lights, because most wreckers have a means to be able to see what they're doing, especially at night. There's a transmission. There's a 2-speed transmission on this truck, and this, I believe, is my second gear. So there's first gear, second gear. Oh, my fault. That's second gear. First gear, second gear. These are the bed controllers. This is the up and down. And this is the back and forth. This is my winch controller, so I can adjust the winch in or out. This is my lights. So if I turn on my lights, there's the lights. They're blinking in the video, but they don't in real life. That's just the frame rate. And notice how this side light is just a it's not really part of the brakes. Cab lights, so if I turn the lights back off, they go away. Same thing with the side lights, part of the running lights, so to speak. And then if I turn the turn signal on, that one also blinks. I don't think that that's the way Cross intended that light to function, but that's the way they do in the States, and that's what I did. Same thing, and then the white turn signal. Bright headlights are controlled by this switch on the back of that switch. Low beam, high beam. Turn the headlights off. This is the switch for the rotators, so I turn it on. And I think that just looks so much better than the one that came with it, the little LED module that came with it. And like I mentioned before, it's assigned a switch, so it doesn't require the bed be in operation or be moving for that light to come on. And I think the original Cross wiring, that light only came on when you were moving the bed up or down. I'm not sure. Like I said, I did not go that route. I completely did not use any of their wiring. I used my own. As far as the bed goes, let's see. We can turn this down a little bit. The wheels. I did not like the wheels that came with the truck. I did not think they looked scale. So I looked around and took pictures of a lot of different trucks and took for a compromise, because I had to buy off the shelf stuff, and these are steel wheels that I got from China. They are not dually wheels. I made them into dually wheels, and what they are deep dish crawler wheels, bead lockers. So I bought various parts, like this black hub is just a hub extension that I turned backwards and mounted it on the outside. This is also a hub extension, and I painted it white. And it, from a distance, like I said, it looks very close to a real deal dually wheel. Much more so than the original Cross RC wheels. I didn't like them at all. And I bought so many different kinds of wheels to try to test. Here's one that I bought that I thought, I would use this one because I really like the look of it, but it just didn't fit the truck because the wheels were too small. If you can see, the height is just much shorter, and especially on the front tire, it didn't fill up the wheel well at all. And these are 2.6 rim, so there was no way to get that thing to I couldn't find tires that would fit this that looked good. They were all either giant crawler tires that I didn't want that. I wanted it to look like a road tire like these. So these are the original Cross wheels on those 1.9 deep dish hubs or wheels. this is another tire that I bought, you know, thinking I would use them, but in the end I went back with the Cross original tires. This is how these tires go together. So like just like this on the front tire, this would be the back tire. I just didn't paint this one, not yet. I probably won't. These are just spares I had left over. And what I did is I bought these little hub extensions to put in between these to give me the right spacing, and the holes line up. It gives me some spacing in between the tires, like you would on a real truck. So that's the tires. I'm trying to do this in one take because I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know. I don't want to have to go and edit a bunch of stuff. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and swing the bed out, and we'll lift this Optima. I guess I could have driven. Oh, here we go. When the truck's on, if I drive forward, the truck will drive forward. And if you notice, the stick is all the way back. For me to go reverse, I have to flip this switch. And this one. So it's a 2-position. So if I flip that back and then go, you know, run my throttle up, the truck will move in reverse. So what we'll do is we'll try to make this as scale as possible. So we'll run the bed back first. And usually there's a mark somewhere on the bed, somewhere around in here, and once it reaches the operator, then you can tilt the bed up. And I can turn the light on if I want. And we'll just run the winch out. I put these big hooks on the end temporarily. I've got another turnbuckle coming to where I don't have to do this. This is going to be separate. So the turnbuckle is going to have this chain on the end of it, and this hook is going to ride up and down where I can come over here with a hook here and pull from a different angle, like you would on a regular truck. My grandfather used to own he owned a body shop before he passed away back in the 80s, and that's what I'm going to put on the door. I'm going to put the body shop logo and the old phone number that was associated with that. This vacuum cleaner out of there. So what we'll do is we'll hook this up like you would on a regular truck. So we got that one hooked. We'll hook the other side. If I can get them hooked. There we go. So now we're hooked. Let's see if it'll pull it up on the truck. And this is what I would talk about doing this, just to pull the car over. And I don't have that device yet. It's coming. And now it's pretty much on there. If I wasn't doing this, I could edit that out, but it's okay. I think that worked out okay. So what we'll do is we'll run the bed in, and once it gets to that imaginary line, somewhere where most of the car is not behind the controls when you go to lift the bed or lower the bed, puts less strain on the motor. And that goes for real-time wreckers, tow trucks. And the motor's automatically stopped. And that's it, I think. Thank you guys for sticking around. I know this video was long. I just wanted to cover everything in one shot because I know I've forgotten something. But if you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'll try to get to them. And thank you very much. Take care.